time. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get, he disabled screen sharing. Oh, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. Well, I'll kind of start to just frame out my presentation for you guys. And then as soon as Mitch is back on, I'll jump on with my screen. But I firmly believe, so I've been in origination since 2009. My first 7 years in the industry, I was a full-time originator. Well, my first year, I think I did 2 loans. My second year, I doubled my production, so I felt like a winner. And then I got connected with a company called Redfin, and through some strategy and some luck, and I really started to grow my business. And then this was back in like 2011. I did like 16 million. I did 8 million, 16 million, 32 million. Like it just kind of every year it just kept doubling. And it was a lot of luck, some strategy, and a lot of hard work. And over the last, gosh, it's now been 14 years. I've done pretty much every role that I could from a sales perspective. So I was an originator, then I built my own branch, then I built my own brand in BBA. And then the last couple of years during COVID, I had a harebrained idea to join the executive team. And so I was on this executive team for a small retail lender. And then this last January, 2023, I started my own private brokerage. And so what I wanted to share with you today is from boots on the ground, originator 101, kind of understanding some of the psychology and some of the strategy that most people don't really think about as they're going through and originating loans. And so this I call the mortgage seasons. And I firmly believe that most originators right now are really good at generating ideas. An idea is a thought or a suggestion as a possible outcome. Meaning, like you sit down with a bunch of originators at a conference, and what's the first thing they're going to do? I got an idea. I'm trying this. I'm doing this. And in the back of your head, if you're being honest, that little voice is saying, yeah, but are they even making money at it? Are they even good at it? I thought that guy was going out of business. Because the reality is, it's very hard for salespeople to go from idea to strategy. Strategy is a plan of action that you can achieve to get an overall goal. And being a former fireman, everything we did was strategy. There were no ideas, right? Everything we did, someone called 911 and they were having a heart attack. Our strategy was CPR for a certain amount of time until a medic unit got there, before they gave drugs, before we got into the hospital. Car wreck, fire, same thing. So everything I did was strategy in my former life. And then I come into sales and it's all ideas. And so what I wanted to share today is the strategy around breaking up the 4 seasons of a mortgage client. And I think I'd love it if you put in the chat what you believe the 4 seasons are. And I'll just kind of throw out the first one. A lot of people would say, well, the first season of a client is the lead season. They're a lead. Like before you can have a past client, you have to have a client. Before you have a client, and before that you have a lead. So what do you believe that the 4 major seasons are? If you break out the emotional differences, the strategy differences, what are the 4 seasons of a client? Because this is really important, because if we just do the same marketing, it would be like marketing running shoes to a CrossFit athlete. Completely different shoes, completely different strategy, completely different graphics. I mean, everything about that athlete, even though they're both athletes, is totally different. So the first season, okay, prospecting, that's a part of that lead season, right? You're prospecting for leads. But what does your avatar that you're trying to acquire, what is that person? You're prospecting to get the lead, but that season for that person is the lead season. When they're a lead,
renter / first-time home buyer.
Correct. So you got a renter, first-time home buyer. Those are all leads, right? So the first season is that lead season. And the tools, the technologies, the things they need, their emotions are very different than how you would treat a past client. Is that true, Emmett? But what do a lot of people do? We just lump everybody in. I just have my people. I have my database, and we market to them the same. We give them the same crappy automated emails and things like that. And then we wonder why we don't convert them at the level that we'd like to convert them at. And a lot of that is because we're just not good at understanding the difference. So if Mitch, as soon as you're on, man, if you could share, that'd be great. Season number 2, I really believe, is this pre-approval season. Now, I've done 1 pre-qualification in 14 years. I am not judging those who use pre-quals in lieu of pre-approvals. It's just for me in my markets where I work, I'm competing against people who pre-approve. They get DU approvals. They send it to an underwriter. Like they vet that file because in our markets, they're $1 million, $2 million homes. If you make an error on a $2 million deal with earnest money waived, you're done. Your reputation is done overnight. So for me, again, strategy, not idea. An idea is I think you can qualify. And if everything works out, a strategy is, hey, I've done these things. I've looked at these documents. I've run dual AUS. I've run this through 3 investors, and you are good for this. You can waive your earnest money. You can waive your inspection. That's that pre-approval season. Well, somebody who is pre-approved, I would argue that you've already pre-approved, has a different level of loyalty to you than a lead. Would you agree? And what you need to focus on with that person, the services that you're providing for them, is actually different, I believe, than a lead. Right? Third season, I would say, is that in contract season. Right? In that season, that person needs different marketing tools, technology than somebody who's a lead. Right? They're past the point of like figuring out what they're doing. Now they're like, what is happening? What is Emmett doing? Or what is Pauline doing to help me get to the finish line? And now they're starting to have these multiple cascading stresses coming at once. I got to get a moving truck. I've got to do this. I got to close out my utilities. And they're starting to get stressed out. How you handle that person is very different than how you handle a lead or a pre-approval. And my last season is the that post-closing season, which is your database, right? How you engage with them, the frequency, the cadence, the tools that you use is totally different than those first 3 seasons. Does everybody kind of understand that? And then you could use slightly different terms. But I would say that, like, for me, if I have somebody who I am acquiring as a client, that is my avatar. Those are 4 very different people. Now, I would actually argue that the seasons from a strategic and emotional process, for season number 1 is actually building trust. Like leads are getting inundated with opportunities to get rate quotes. They're getting referred. If you work with agents who referred 3, they're like, who do I trust? Who do I go to? Like, am I going with, the guy at the local bank, or am I going with a local lender? What's the difference? Right? So it's a trust building season. So again, as we get a break, and we're going to get into the actions that you do to gain trust, just be thinking about that. Like, what does that avatar need? There's a great book by Seth Godin called This is Marketing. And he talks about what a lot of people do in marketing. They build this thing in their mind, and then they go, I got to find an audience for this amazing thing. And the reality is that's really ineffective marketing. What you should do is find an audience that already exists, that's underserved, and then give them what they need and what they want, right? And so what a lead wants, they need somebody they can trust. Now, what is a pre-approval? Someone who's pre-approved. What is that pre-approved prospect looking for? I would argue, and a lot of our people inside our coaching platform would argue, that they're looking for education and they're looking for data. Okay, great. So like, now that I've gotten pre-approved, like, how much can I afford? What are the interest rates doing? What's this inventory problem I'm hearing in my market? I made an offer on a house and there's 37 other offers. What does that mean? Like, they're trying, because again, they're in a shorter season where they're like, now that I've done the work, I want to get the result, right? I put the seed in the ground, I watered it. Where's my crops? Where's my home? And so we need to be educating them on different programs, different opportunities they may have. And that's the education season. And the tools we use in the education season are very different from the tools that we use in season 1 for the lead. Season 3, that in contract season, I believe that this is a season that's all about communication and reputation. Now, it's building your reputation or saving your reputation, right? It's also taking that reputation and leveraging that for more referrals. But most importantly, for your agents and your clients, it's all about communication. We did a poll with a dozen broker owners, not brokers, but broker owners. And we said, hey, if you asked all of your real estate agents, and this would have, reached hundreds of agents. We said, what's the number 1 complaint you had about lenders? And it wasn't like 50% said this or 60, 100% of the people said communication, 100%. So if that's the number 1 complaint they have, and we know it, right? Why aren't we focusing more on it? I'm going to talk to you through the number 1 strategy, the non-negotiable that we use in our business week to really alleviate the trust concerns and help build that reputation. And then number 4, it's all about community building. And you'd be like, community building. The reality is that you need to take somebody from the trust phase to the education phase to the communication reputation phase. Now you need them to look at you as family. because that's where you can start to really crank up that referral machine. That's where you can go from having to work with the referral that the agent provides you to now being the source of the referrals and going to agents saying, hey, I have a lead. I'm going to actually send them the three. They wanted to meet with 3 agents. This is my lead. And now you're in the driver's seat. That starts when you build a community, right? And what those people want, the knowledge that those people want, the information those people want is completely different from the information somebody who's a lead wants. Once you're in your house and you have your mortgage, you're not really concerned about mortgage products. You're not really concerned about the markets unless there's an opportunity for you to save money, become more affordable. And Mitch, now that you're back, go ahead and give me access so I can share my screen, please. And we'll get right into this. So first season I want to get into is this lead season, this trust building season. And there are several things, there's several actions that you need to be doing in this trust building season. And as soon as Mitch gives me access, I don't know, is Mitch in Iowa? Do they have like internet problems in Iowa? Because he's been posting about the snow a lot. So I'm just assuming that he's on like AOL dial-up out there and there's no internet.
He's still driving home. He's still driving home from voting.
Yeah, probably. But Mitch, if you can give me access, that would be great so I can share my screen. But in this lead building season, the number one strategy, like these things that we need to be doing, again, not ideas, but strategies, is really building this online presence. Because what we know is that if Paul's been referred by an agent, the reality is that the vast majority of people are still going to go look Paul up online. Yeah, this agent says Paul's great. Okay, but maybe they only know the agent for a week, right? Like we sometimes assume that these referrals come to us like, although it's friends and family, but oftentimes it's not. Oftentimes they met the agent through a friend or maybe through Zillow or through online or whatever. They're going to look you up online. What are they going to see when they look you up online? Is it a glamour shot from 1985? Is your information the same across platforms? Do you have good positive information? Or are you talking about things that maybe would piss them off, right? They're already starting to vet you to see if they can trust you just by the way you engage online. Are you taking pictures with your families, going out to dinner? Are you positive or are you negative? Like that is something that's really, really important to be just cognizant of. So as you're building this online trust, you've got to be posting and engaging daily in the top 3 platforms, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And a lot of people kind of don't give LinkedIn the power that they should. LinkedIn, although the messaging through these recruiters is super annoying, is a really powerful platform for business professionals. All right, Mitch, you got my screen share. Thank you. But it's a super powerful place for entrepreneurs, financial planners, investors, like business owners, and those are some of the best clients ever. So during that season, it's all about really that daily engagement online. And the thing about doing a daily engagement online, I have 7,700 people on my Facebook. So if I do one post, I have the opportunity to reach not only 7,700 people, but also anyone they share the post with, anyone I tag in that post that they then tag or comment on. This is huge, and it's the simplest online billboard you have at your disposal to start building trust. If you do this effectively, you'll walk into a coffee shop and somebody will run into you. And in fact, I had this happen. So I've had many different jobs in the mortgage space, from originator, branch manager, and so on. And so I have not done as effective of a job as I could of marketing to my past clients. What I have done is social media. And I have a 2-year-old, and my wife has this crazy harebrained idea that 2-year-olds should get their ears pierced. And I'm like, man, my beautiful little princess, like we're gonna damage her ears. So anyways, I finally caved. And so for Christmas, my daughter gets her ears pierced. We're at the mall, and I see this other dad. He's got a little 2-year-old too. Like we make eye contact. And I'm like, dude, I feel this guy. He doesn't want to, scar his little daughter's ears either. And so we're just chatting. And then he sees my hat. And he says, "You're Shane, aren't you?" And I go, "Yeah." I'm like, "Uh-oh." First off, I'm always like, "Uh-oh, what did I do?" And he goes, "You did my mortgage." And I go, "What's your name?" And he goes, he says, "Grant." I go, "What's your last name?" He tells me. I go, "Oh my gosh, I did a deal for you like 5 years ago. How are you? How was it getting through COVID? Blah, blah, blah." The reality was the guy's like, "Oh, I'm great, dude. It's so good to see you online. It sounds like you're doing really good. Hey, congrats on this." The guy knew me because of my social presence. So I don't want to like diminish the value of having an impactful strategic social presence. The second part of building trust with the lead is all about giving them information early. Now, imagine if you went to a car lot, you're going to go buy a car, And in your mind, you have this like the perfect idea of the car you want. So Brian's going to buy a minivan. Brian looks like he's a new dad. Brian's got 5 little kids, and his wife is like, Brian, we need a new car. We need a minivan. So Brian goes to the dealership. In his mind, he's like, I know I need to get a minivan. I have a rough idea what this is going to cost. He goes to walks in the dealer. Hey, Brian, nice to meet you. Let me show you some cars. And then in Brian's mind, he's like, what's that car cost? And the guy's like, let me show you some of these extra features. Man, you can get these extra rims. And we got these great plans to like finance everything for you. And don't worry about the price. You're like, no, man, I want to know what I'm buying. Like, what is the cost of what I'm buying? Like, in what other industry would we wait till the end of the trust building season to tell people what the item they're buying costs? Yet in lending, what a lot of people do is they wait to quote rates until like they've got the client and or because they want to build trust or be a good salesman or woman before they actually quote rates. And what I would challenge you on, it's 2024. Like, we all purchase things on Amazon, and the first thing we're looking at, what is the price and how quickly can I receive that item? So it's all about price and speed. If it's about price and speed, you've got to own the pricing that you offer. If you're embarrassed of that pricing, then you need to move companies or talk to your boss or adjust your comp. But you have to, like, you're selling Ford trucks, whether you like it or not. That's the truck you're selling. And if you don't like Fords, go sell Chevy. But if you're selling Ford, you need to tell people right away, hey, I've got 3 different types of trucks. This is the cost of these trucks. Where do you think you really fit? And get that price out early. That builds trust. If you show them your fees, you walk them through the cost. What's a third-party cost versus not? If you do that day 0, you do that day 1, you have a much greater likelihood of sealing the deal with that consumer. And we know this. We've been doing this with damn near 1,000 past clients, just for myself personally, and thousands of clients in our group. We push interest rates. We push price first. We have conversations. We do intake calls, but we want to push price first because we want to build trust. The sooner you build trust, the sooner you can convert them from a lead to a pre-approval. Now, I'm moving quick because we're running low on time. In this pre-approval season, there's one non-negotiable. There's a lot of things you need to do. And I'm not talking about the operational items. We know we need to be looking at income, assets, credit. We need to be looking at the 1003. We need to be comparing investors. That's a given. I would challenge you that the number one most impactful thing that you can do that's free and it scales and you can do it for multiple people is having a Friday market update. The reason I do these on Fridays is because I want that consumer and I want the agents to be thinking about me when they're going out on the weekends. Now, here's what I do in my market updates. I really break this down into 3 components, and these are quick. I use video email, Loom, Dub, BombBomb. There's a lot of ways. I mean, you could technically do it on your phone. You could create an iCloud link or something like that. Screencast-O-Matic, which became, I think it's called ScreenPal, is another one. Every Friday at about 3 o'clock, I get online and I go to a couple of real estate blogs that have like local, like real estate updates in Seattle, my market. I get on and say, hey guys, happy Friday. Just a quick market update for you. Homes in Seattle are moving at an incredible pace. The average home right now is getting 26 offers, blah, blah. Just like 15 seconds on what is the real estate market in the area where my avatar is interested. What's happening right now? Now you might say, yeah, but that's their agent's job. And although that's true, the vast majority of agents don't have a cadence to their week. They don't communicate consistently. And they're quite frankly, very reactive. We need to proactively tell them what they can expect to see when they go out shopping on Saturday. Second part of that is I am going to talk about rates. Now, what I'll do is I'll leverage Rate Alert or MBS Highway to show them the bond markets. I'll say, hey guys, just quick update on the bonds. You know, green is good, red is bad, up is good, rate bad, down is bad, etc. I say, here's where the market is today. I say, we saw the market move by this amount. Hey, keep in mind, there's some changes coming out next week. There's going to be a jobs report. What is that jobs report? I'll just quickly explain what that is at a very high level. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because people want you to summarize information and tell them how to think. And I know this because go to any news channel right now. They're not actually just giving you info. They're telling you how to think, right? Consumers have a very short attention span. They don't want to have to do all the research. That's why they're paying you. They want you to tell them, how should I be thinking about interest rates? Hey guys, here's the bond market. It's actually been a pretty good week for rates. We saw rates come down. This is why, as you can see, they correlate fairly directly to the bond market. Here's what we're doing. And then the last component of that is I'll remind them of any proprietary tools that they or their agent have available to them. Now, this might be as simple. Now, for me, the definition of proprietary is anything I control and brand that I can offer to my consumer. It might be a white labeled version of Simple Nexus. It might be a borrower portal where they can access and update their pre-approval letters. I might have a mobile friendly website like links.co or Linktree where I do other updates. Hey guys, don't forget, here's my tool. Don't forget. It's just a quick, don't forget, do this, try this, remember this. And again, I'm just cementing in the minds of my pre-approvals that like I have access to everything they need. I do something that's unique in the market. There's 7,000 lenders, but nobody has this proprietary tool the way I use it, the way I frame it. And this gives them more value. By doing this, I'm digitally sending them currency because I'm giving them something of value. I'm giving them knowledge and education. I'm sharing the data with them so they're prepared. And this is super important because I can't tell you how many times I've heard of somebody who says, I pre-approved the guy 6 weeks ago, the market moved. How do I tell him where the rates are today? Well, you should be telling him every week where the rates are. You should be preparing people. Like if your stockbroker is a good stockbroker as the market's moving, they're constantly telling you what's going on. The worst financial planner is the one who never says anything. And then you find out just randomly checking on your app and you've lost 30% of your investments. You're pissed. You're moving your money. So we need to be doing that as well in this season. Third season, and I'm sorry for going so fast. I'll give Mitch the slide so you guys have this, is this in contract stage. This is that communication and reputation stage. The number one non-negotiable that you need to be doing, we would call this an action that matters, a daily ATM, is the weekly in-process calls. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this call. Operationally, this is good because you're proactively getting in front of anything that could be happening, that could be challenging, a speed bump, a roadblock on a deal. Second aspect of this that we're going to get into is how we ask for reviews by asking for feedback. So the way this works is I start this the day they get under contract. And in my world, I call everyone on the deal. Now, the more people you call, the more opportunities you have to make money. So you might be saying, well, like, do I really need to call the attorney or the escrow rep? You do if you want to make more money. Escrow agents, attorneys, depending on your state, title reps, they work with all the agents on all the deals. They know who's doing good. They know who's doing bad. They know who's complaining about lenders. And most times people don't treat them great on the transaction. They're like ghosted until they're needed. And then it's urgent. It's a fire drill. And it's super stressful. So I call everybody day one. Hey, my name's Shane Kidwell, CEO of Dwell Mortgage. I am going to be working with a buyer at 123 Main Street, listing agents, Bob, so-and-so. I just wanted to reach out, say hi, let you know that I'll be calling you every week. Most of these third parties will be like, you're going to call me every week? Like when did you get under contract? They're probably assuming that you've been under contract for 2 weeks and that the agent hasn't communicated that well, right? Because that's just the way it works. I'm like, hey, we just got under contract 2 hours ago. My commitment to you and to everybody on this deal is to proactively communicate what's going on so that we're ready to close this loan 2 weeks early, right? And I say that whether we close it or not, I want to be ready to close 2 weeks early. I'm making a handshake agreement with you. And I say this to everyone on the deal. I will always be proactive with my communication. It's part of my DNA. I'll tell you what's working good, what's not. If there's challenges, if there's roadblocks, you have to make a deal with me that you're not going to shoot the messenger, right? And that's what I say. And I do this with agents. I do this with listing agents. And then every week I call them. And then as I'm starting to build rapport, I'll ask them, how are things going? Is there anything else I can do to help? Be a giver, right? And I'm just communicating. And I am very transparent. If there's challenges, I don't ever hold back. I'll say, hey, I use crap sandwich philosophy. Hey, if good, bad, good. Hey, great news. We've got, clients been moving really quick. Agents been great about getting back to us and stuff. Appraisal's been ordered. We got a little challenge on income, right? Guys actually self-employed at W-2, whatever. Good news is though, we've got 17 investors we work with, et cetera, et cetera. We're working on this. I should have an answer for you by Thursday, right? That's my good, bad, good strategy. And I do this every time I do a weekly in-process call. Now, at the end of these calls, I say something very specific and strategic to everyone on the deal. And I always make individual calls, and I'll call the buyer, the buyer's agent, transaction coordinators, co-borrowers, everyone on the deal. I'll say, hey, my business is built on the feedback of people like you. And so it's really important that Emmett, that you and your beautiful bride feel comfortable giving me and my team feedback at every step. So I want you to know that you have full agency to tell me, even if it's just I'm confused about something, maybe there's something that you thought like I could have explained more. My process gets better if you give me feedback. How have things been going? And you're doing this day one, and it's kind of funny with the agent, like, well, I've never met you before. You just called me, like, great. How'd the call go? Your job is you want to train your people that you are comfortable hearing everything that they feel. This is really important. You will never get a bad review week 5 if you've asked them for feedback for the first 4 weeks. If they haven't given you feedback, they're going to feel really guilty about waiting to week 5 to give you feedback. Now, once they do, the vast majority of the time, if you're pre-approving somebody, you're nurturing that lead, you're building trust, you're educating them, giving them knowledge, doing weekly updates, sharing your proprietary tools, you get under contract, you got a good competitive rate, good competitive product, you're communicating with everybody, you're going to get good feedback. As soon as they say, hey, things have been great, say, great. How does this compare to experiences with other lenders? Like dig, but in a cool way, right? How does this compare? Actually, this has been great. Hey, is there anything that another lender's done better that I could add to my process? Be humble enough to know that you aren't the master at everything, right? And then I say, and when they say, like, you know, Damien's going to say, dude, this has been the best process I've ever been in, and I'm only 3 days into the deal. Awesome, Damien. Dude, would you be comfortable, like, if I sent you a link, leaving me some feedback? And do it on the call. Don't wait. Don't chicken out. Don't ask for it later. And if Damon's cool, you're like, yeah, okay, cool. Hang on. Click send on your CRM. Send a text with a link to your Google business page. Right? No one, like, who says you have to wait until after you've closed a deal to get a review? If you do this well, you can actually get reviews, multiple reviews on one deal before you ever close. Right? And we call this the magic window. It's something that's a strategy we've used in Next Level. We normally would wait to that final approval, clear to close stage. They still need you, but there's great news. And I just challenged the room. I said, if you're kicking ass week 1, why not ask for feedback? If you're doing a great job week 2, and they're like, this is the best thing I've ever been through. Like, he locked my rate, saved me, the market turned, he floated down. Why not get their feedback? Right? We know from experience that if you build a strong Google business page presence, you will start to generate organic leads through that. And going back to that season 1, all about building trust, people will see you online when they look you up, and they'll see that, wow, you know, Paul's got 237 reviews and he's like 4.9 stars. Like, that instantly makes you credible. If you go on right now on Google and you search in your market, you go mortgage rates, mortgage loans, Cincinnati, how many reviews does your competition have? They have a lot less than you think. So it's super important that you're building that up through the in-contract season. Last but not least is this post-closing community building season. Now, in this season, it's all about engaging with them. But the challenge to the room, and I ask this question to anytime I talk to anybody, what do you think people who have funded their loan already, they're already in their home, what type of information do they want to receive? If you don't know this, you're going to be sending them the wrong information. What do they want to hear? Like, why would they be receptive to you emailing them? Home worth? Sure. Yep. What else? And guys, if you don't know this, you can't have an effective post-closing strategy. You have to understand what your avatar wants. Do they want to know how to save money? Like, I feel like everybody likes saving money. Do they want to maybe know about ways to pay their mortgage off early? Do they maybe want to, a community events is a great one. Like, everyone likes to go out and eat and party, right? No matter what. Like, everyone wants to know when new restaurants are opening up, when there's new things happening in town, National Car Wash Day, the places you can get free car washes. And again, I'm not saying you're doing this daily. You're doing this monthly. So 12 times a year, you're getting in front of them with a fun newsletter. And these are back. And if you don't think they are, like, look online. Newsletters are huge with business right now in 2024. But it's got to be about things that actually matter to them. If you're sending them things about, like, this is how, you know, make sure you turn your utilities on, like, they don't care, right? It's about, where can I go get good food, save money, and have fun, right? And you can do this in some very creative ways. Like, for me, going back to that first season, I'm on social media. People know I like good coffee. You know, I like donuts. You know, I like car washes. I like to spend a lot of time with my daughter. And I'm a big sports guy. So much to the point that the other week, so I'm living in Palm Springs for the month. I just had to get some sun. And there's a Keurig here at the office. And people know, like, I'm a coffee snob. And I was drinking coffee out of the Keurig. And people were like on my Facebook, dude, you're drinking out of a Keurig? Like, really? That's because they know me. My online persona is the same as my in-person persona. Like, who I am online is the same as I am offline. And so when I do my newsletters, I might be like, hey, there's a new coffee shop opening down the road, and I'm recording this on a video. Would love to see you come out. I will be at the coffee shop from 3 to 6 on February 3rd. There's a link below this video. You can RSVP. Coffee's on me. It's a great place. They're doing tastings all day. Now, here's the reality. You can do that with a bar, a restaurant, a car wash. Hey, I'll be at the car wash. Come by and I'll buy your car wash. It doesn't matter. The reality is I'll send this to 1,000 people. Now the fear is like, oh man, can you afford that? You're going to have 5 show up, but all 1,000 think that you're the most generous, creative lender that they've ever worked with, right? That's a part of the perspective that you got to get at. So there's a couple other things you can use. AI is great. You can create content using AI. It'll help you write your newsletters. Now, I would challenge you if you're using like a Chat GPT or one of the others, Claude, Chat GPT 4, and especially the newest version is great. You've got to train it to know who you are. So like what I do in Chat GPT, and I got to cut, is I'll start by saying, hey, Chat GPT, my name's Shane. I live in Washington. I'm a big Washington Huskies fan. I like good coffee, blah, blah, blah. I'll actually teach it who I am. And then in that same message thread, I'll say, write a newsletter highlighting a new restaurant opening up here. Here's a link to an article about that restaurant or something like that. It'll start to generate, and it will actually be like, if you know me, you know I like coffee. There's a brand new coffee shop opening. It will actually like narrate that newsletter based on what it knows about me. Right. And then I take that and then I tweak it. Like AI should not be a replacement for you. It should be an enhancement to what you do, but it absolutely can be. Now, if you're doing a newsletter, these can also be easily converted to blog posts. And it's a great way to stay in front of people without having to really even ask them for business. And then, of course, I say this, but events are key. You can do low-cost events, and I mentioned this by kind of leveraging that newsletter with an announcement about where you're going to be, but be in front of people. Do low-cost events. When COVID hit and like Seattle, Washington was one of the worst places. Like you couldn't go anywhere. It was a ghost town. I started doing virtual events. We sent happy hour kits to our clients with little like mini bottles of booze. And like we did like mixology classes on Zoom. I got my financial planner who's really good. And we did like this private exclusive live training to like walk people through what was happening with their portfolios. We went virtual, but get back in person with people, have events. It's a phenomenal use of your time. And I'll just leave for 1 minute here for any questions you guys have. I know I ran a few minutes over. Skylar, thank you for your grace. Let's just blame Mitch on this one if we can. But yeah, guys, what questions, what thoughts do you have about the 4 seasons of a mortgage client?
I'm interested in your Friday updates.
What's that?
I'm interested in the platform and delivery of your Friday updates.
So I use Go High Level as my CRM. And so I do everything through Go High Level. I leverage, I was using BombBomb, but quite honestly, like I don't like the deliverability through BombBomb. It's really low. It's very spammy. So I record the video, and since I'm not delivering through BombBomb, I'm actually moving to Loom. It's significantly lower cost. It's still a great platform. So I'll do a Loom video embedded in a Go High Level email sent through Go High Level. And then I use like SendGrid and I use a couple other tools, Mailgun, to make sure that I've got a good high deliverability rate. And then again, like I think that was maybe Emmett. I literally, when I did this for years, I would go to Redfin's blog and I would just share my screen like, well, what's going on today in real estate? And I'll tell you, man, I had agents years later who would send me an email with a referral, and it was a reply to one of my Friday weekly updates. And guys, I'm sending this to not only anyone who's pre-approved, I'm sending this to any agent I've ever worked with or ever want to work with. Like my Friday update would go out to 700 or 800 people. Cool. Anything else?
I just want to say thank you for taking the lead there in my absence.
All good, man. All good. Technology,
Yeah,
man. It's either our best friend or our worst enemy.
Yeah, I was trying to log in about 15 minutes early like a good host would, and then as soon as I did, it just said, oh, guess what? Updates to your computer, and it just started shutting down. I was like, oh, no. So, but
Okay,
yes,
man.
we are having caucuses yesterday, blizzards. We got about 28 inches of snow last 7 days or so, and 50-mile-an-hour winds. I mean, it's been insane around here. Not to mention the minus 40-degree wind chills.
I was in Denver yesterday. It was -1. I'm in Palm Springs today, and it's 70. So I'll take 70.
Hey, Shane.
Yeah.
Hey, Shane.
Yes, sir. You know, listen, Paul, I received that only because I'm in Palm Springs, but back in Seattle, it's 17. So, you know, it's pretty much cold everywhere.
I'm in New England and it's snowing right now.
Yeah.
They
Hey,
showed us thing on the they showed a thing on the news the other day, and it said in August whatever date it was in August this year, it was, with the heat index here in Iowa, it was like 114. And with the wind chill, it was like a minus 45 or whatever. So I don't remember the exact math, but it was a total difference of 168 degrees.
There's no perfect city
Suffer
for weather.
between January and August. So we live in the extreme climate here of both ends.
I love it, man. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your attention. Sorry I had to kind of rush through that. Mitch, I'll send you a link to the presentation if anyone wants to take a look at that and reference it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'll put that in the when I put this recording in the Facebook group, I'll put that in the comments so everybody has access to that. Anybody else have a question for Shane before we move on? Brian, did you have a question? Okay. Awesome. All right. Well, Shane, again, I appreciate you taking the lead on that for me in my absence. And I will go ahead and bring on Skylar. How's it going, Skylar?
Doing well. How are you?
Hey, good, man. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being part of this. And we will give the stage to you. Do you have to share a slideshow?
Yeah. I've got a presentation. So I'm dealing with all kinds of issues myself as well. Running on a cell phone hotspot. At this point, we had an office move, and then we had a blizzard in the middle of the office move, and the office didn't get moved. And so I'm in the office. There's no water. There's no internet. There's some heat, and me and a laptop. So if I cut out, I'll come back on. My service is okay, but if I lose you guys. So a bit of background on me for those that don't know who I am. I've been full time in mortgage since 2019, building a team. I've been in lending for about 15 years, but I've done a lot of different lending, commercial lending, ag lending, consumer lending, construction loans, all the things. But since 2019, I've been building and growing out a mortgage team. As of today, we are 12 lenders strong. I've got a staff of 23 total. And last year, we were up about 35% year over year. And this year, based on early numbers and things, is looking like we're probably going to see 30 to 40% growth again this year for our team. We ought to finally crack 1,000 units closed in a year. That's kind of been the goal for a while. So I think we're finally going to hit that 4-figure annual unit count. And so what we do 100% is that our entire business is built around the idea that our customer is our affiliate partner. For us, it's realtors. Everything that we do caters to the realtor. And what I want to present today to you guys is the idea of selling process as opposed to all the other things. And so I've got kind of a system for how you can build out a process and then start stacking guarantees to go after affiliate partners to get more referrals. This is 100% of what we do. It's very effective, and we, like I said, continue to grow as we go. And so let me share this, and we'll kind of start walking through. So our business is built around the idea that we want realtors to give us business. It doesn't have to be realtors. There's other affiliates that you can target. There's divorce attorneys, financial planners, construction companies. There's a lot of different people that you can go after. But the idea here is that you want to build a way to package up your unique process and how you do business, and then that become the thing that you sell to those affiliate partners. And so the way that you do that, let's see if my system will work for me here. There's kind of a 8-step process for how we do it. And so step 1 is actually clarifying who the ideal client is first. So when I say client, I mean actual end user for your mortgage loan. Once you figure out who that is, then from there you think through which affiliate partners would have the most of them. And so what I mean here, ideal client, you look at their buying experience. Are they first-time home buyers? Do you prefer seasoned home buyers, veterans? Do you prefer investors? Price point, age, location, all of those things that would determine who you want to go after to do mortgage loans for. And then you just kind of reverse engineer from there. Who are the people that would have the most of them? So if you're looking for an experienced buyer that's transactional and are more interested in speed to close than anything else, then maybe you want to target divorce attorneys and just come in when there's a divorce decree and be the solution to that problem, right? And so if that's what you're looking for, if you prefer, I want to work with first-time home buyers and that sort of thing, then you might target a newer, younger realtor, somebody in that, younger limit of the millennial age group, where they would have a lot of friends that are coming onto market to buy, first-time home buyers, and would have a good flow. And so you just have to think through, who do you and your team prefer to work with for end users, and then how can you then target the right affiliates that would have those people. And again, affiliates, there's realtors, insurance agents, financial planners, construction companies, anybody that is in our industry that can send you referrals are who I'm talking about for affiliates. And so for us, we target realtors, more specifically realtors in rural America. We have a goal to become the official lending team of rural America. And so that's where we focus on. And so after you figured out the affiliate that you're going to target, the next is just to build a list. There's really 3 easy ways to build a list. You can use Google and just do it yourself. It takes time. It's the cheapest, but it takes the most time. From there, you can go on to like Fiverr and hire a data analyst to go out and just scrape and build a list for you. Hey, could you go out to all the realty websites in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and get me a list of all the realtors? And they can go out and do that. It's pretty inexpensive. The third way is the most expensive, but it's also the easiest, and that's just to hire a list broker to go do it for you. There's a lot of those out there in the real estate world. QualifiedAgentList.com is pretty good. I've used them before. For $900, you get about 1,200 qualified realtors on a list. And so those are kind of the 3 ways, but you have to get that list of the people that you're going to target, right? Once you have that, then we're going to look at an idea called ideal output. And what ideal output is, it's similar. I got the idea from the hedgehog concept from Jim Collins' Good to Great. And so ideal output is an intersection of 3 things. It's in your business or in someone else's business. You look at the 3 different circles. Number 1 is enjoyment. So what do you actually enjoy about being a loan officer? Like, what are the stuff that is just fun? And it can be anything from, closing loans to cold calling to showing up and making coffee for the office. Like, it literally just making a list of all the stuff you enjoy. The second circle is satisfaction. So there's an assessment that you can take. Patrick Lencioni's group put out called Working Genius that kind of clarifies what satisfaction is. Satisfaction is the stuff that when it happens and you get goosebumps from it. So if you do a deal with a really tough first-time home buyer and they're crying at the closing table and you're there and you see it and you're like, you feel from that moment. That's the stuff that I talk about when I'm talking about satisfaction. And lastly, the third circle is stability. So what are the unique skills that you have that you can get paid for? For example, if you have spent a lot of time taking reps, doing ups, and you're good at sales, and you're comfortable and confident being face-to-face and going through the sales process, and you have the skill set of sales, that would be an example of a stability skill. It's something that you can go out and get paid for pretty much anytime. And so when I'm dealing with my affiliates, what I want to know about them is I want to know what their ideal output is. So if I'm talking to a buyer's agent, what I'm trying to figure out and what I'm trying to get them to think through is, what parts of being a buyer's agent do you actually love? What is the ideal work that you should be doing as a buyer's agent? It's pretty reasonable that buyer's agents just enjoy looking at real estate. Most of them will tell you, I got into the industry because I like real estate. I just like houses. And so that's probably enjoyable. Most of them will get some level of satisfaction when they walk a client into a home and the client's jaw drops and they like gasp and they're like, this is it. This is my dream home. And that buyer's agent has listened and then done research and then executed and found them what they were looking for. And a lot of times that experience will be a satisfaction for them. They'll feel good about doing their job. And then lastly, they have some skill. Hopefully they're either good at sales and they can walk somebody through a property and sell them on the home and get them to buy into the vision of what it would be like to live there. Or they might be good at negotiating and they can sit across from a listing agent and win and get a better deal for their clients. But they have some sort of a skill that is worth being paid to have. And so when I'm having conversations with these affiliates, these are the questions that I'm asking, trying to figure out what's the stuff that they love. What is the work that they need to be doing? And then question number 4 is where you start bringing it back around to what you offer. And that is, what tasks prevent them from doing the first 3 things. And so if a buyer's agent's ideal output is showing a home to a qualified buyer, right? That's the ideal work they should be doing. What's all the stuff in their life and in their business that's preventing them from doing that all the time? And there's going to be a whole bunch of different things that cause issues that fill their time that they don't like. And so at this stage, what we want to do is we're just doing market research. It's called customer interviews. And so we would call, 100 plus affiliates. We've called over 1,000 of them and had these conversations, and just trying to figure out what's all the stuff that wastes our affiliates' time. And so once you get that list and you start understanding this is all the crap that's preventing them from being able to show a home to a qualified buyer, right? From there, that's where the money is. If you can solve those problems and you can present yourself in a way as you're a solution to those issues, all of a sudden those affiliates or those realtors start seeing much more value in you. And so these are some examples of stuff that realtors have told us over the years of having these conversations. I waste time following up on my referral leads, spend a lot of time updating my pipeline, takes forever to set up my CRM. I hate doing the contract paperwork. I spend a ton of time cold calling old listings for leads. Like, this is just all the stuff that they're doing. We can't solve everything for them. I can't do the sales contracts for them. That's not a thing, right? But there are things on that list that we can do, and we can take off of their list by having a stronger process and doing business consistently. And so that's what you want to do. And so from there, step 4 is the process and the guarantee. And you start going through the list, and you look, what are all the things preventing them from ideal output, and which of those can you do for them? And then are there any things on there that you can prevent completely? Just by having a more efficient process, can you eliminate a lot of that stuff for them? And so you're going to go through that list and start documenting out your process and changing and refining and clarifying the way that you do business, with the goal of taking all of the crap off of the affiliate partner's plate. That's what we want to do. And then from there, you have to train your staff. You have to make them understand, we're going to do things this way now because of these reasons. And then the last thing that you do is you turn that process change into the guarantee. The guarantee is a fancy packaged up product that you're now selling. And that is the point where things will start to change when you're trying to get referral partners. And so once you have that guarantee packaged up and it's ready to be sold, that's when you're going to start setting appointments and actually start selling. And this is pretty easy stuff. This is business 101. You go back to that list that you made. Now we're not doing customer interviews for discovery. Now it's time to sell. And so you're going to call these people back up. You're going to rehash through what you've learned about their business. And then you're going to present your process as a solution. And so it's not calling them up and telling them that you can close in 9 days or whatever, or that you've got the cheapest rates or that your fees are lower. It's that, hey, I understand that you really, really enjoy showing properties to qualified buyers. And if you could do that all the time, you'd love your business the most, right? Is that clear? And then I understand that you said that these things here, having to do your pipeline updates and having to follow up with, listing agents and all that stuff is taking you away from doing what you love. Well, we've created this new process where every Monday we guarantee that we will do all of the pipeline updates, and we'll call you, we'll call the listing agents, we'll call the clients, we'll call the title companies, and we'll get all of those updates out before noon every single Monday, so that you don't have to do those calls anymore, so that you can focus on the stuff that you enjoy doing more. And so it's going a step deeper. It's not just saying, hey, we give weekly pipeline update calls. I mean, that's cool. So does everybody else. But it's saying we give these weekly pipeline update calls so that you don't have to be bombarded by phone calls from listing agents wondering when appraisals are due and title companies wanting to make sure that we're still planning on closing on this date and all of those things. We do it for you so that you can focus on the stuff that you love, right? From there, we just start selling the process. And so you walk through how you do what you do. You show them how you execute the guarantee. and then you just confirm that they see the value of the guarantee. And so when we close an affiliate partner, we close by saying, you know, if I'm truly able to deliver this guarantee 100% of the time, do you see value in doing some business with me? We're not doing a hard close. We're not saying, hey, why don't you send me all of your business? We're just saying, hey, this is the way that we do business. And if we really can't execute on this, do you see value in it? And if so, why don't you send a lead over and let's see if we're really capable of doing what we say we can do. If you think about what it means to ask an affiliate partner to give you all their business, it's actually a really, really big deal. And I think that it's not stressed enough in our industry. Realtors' entire livelihoods are built around managing and converting the leads that they have. And they make money by selling property, right? And they don't know you. They've never done a deal with you. You've called them up and you're hoping that you can get their business. But if you ask them to start sending everything over, you're basically asking them to trust you with their income. And it's a really, really big deal. And the reality is that you have to earn that right over time by executing consistently. And the only way that you can do that is to get a shot. One, not all, but just one shot. And then when you get that opportunity, you have to execute. And so we just ask for an opportunity. We don't ask for all of it. The idea is that if we really can execute and we can take a lot of the headaches that they don't enjoy in their business off their plate, then why wouldn't they send another and then a third? And then eventually over time, and after doing this consistently for a period, then we can start having a conversation about a deeper level partnership. They start to see that they can trust us with their livelihood. But that has to be earned over time. It's not something that you can just call up a stranger and ask for out of the gate. And so you get into the commitments. We ask for all the business after we close 3 or 4 deals with them. And they start seeing the real value in it. And so the trick at the very end is stacking multiple guarantees all together so that you're able to give a true unique value proposition into the marketplace. And so when I say stacking guarantees, we go back to answer the answers to question 4, and we solve one, then we solve another, then we solve another, and I've got some examples. So I waste time following up on my referral leads, meaning that the realtor is referring lenders leads and they're not hearing back. The lenders just don't give them any follow-up and they don't get any feedback and they don't have any idea what happened to those leads, right? That happens all the time in our industry. So the guarantee that you create, my team's speed to lead process guarantees that we reach out 10 times in 3 days to every lead you send over. We provide an update on each one at the end of each day. And that's a very simple guarantee. And that solves number 1, right? But then you can stack a second guarantee on there. And so I waste time showing homes to unqualified people. And in addition to our speed to lead guarantee, my team's quick pre-qual process guarantees that you'll have an initial decision within 2 hours of app submission, ensuring that you only show homes to real buyers. Meaning that as soon as we get an application on paper, we'll give you an initial update on that file within 2 hours of the app being submitted. So that realtors are no longer wasting time going out and showing properties and they don't know for sure if those people can buy. And so now we've just stacked 2 guarantees, right? Speed to lead, quick pre-qual process. And you can just keep going through that. It's taking forever to set up my CRM to work my past database. Our forever follow-up process guarantees that we call every client in our past database 4 times a year to make sure you never miss a listing again. And so now we've just stacked 3 guarantees. Anyone on this call, doesn't matter how big your team is, those are all guarantees that you can actually execute on. And you just keep doing that. You listen to the pain points that the realtors have, you analyze those, you see if there's any way that you can add something into your process to solve those, and then you package it up and brand it and sell it. I hate going door knocking for leads. A lot of realtors really, really, really don't want to go door knocking. So we have the don't door knock alone process guarantee. If a realtor wants to go out and door knock and generate business, our loan officers on our team will go do it with them. And we are trained salesmen. We are very capable of knocking on the door of a stranger, carrying out a conversation and converting that. And if the realtors don't want to do it, we'll do it for them. No problem. Off we go. And so my team now has built out our process. It's called the loop. And the loop now, when we come in and present, we actually have a series of 13 stack guarantees that we do. This is our flyer here. So what we'll do is that we'll come in, we'll do a presentation, we'll go over all of our guarantees and how we do business and how our process can help them to grow. And then from there, we'll leave them with this flyer. And so over time, you can start stacking things up. And as you grow your team and you're able to do more and you've got more chess pieces on the board, then you can start adding more and more and more guarantees until you get to the point now we can come in and a realtor can trust our systems and processes and leverage us, and they'll actually see their conversion ratios on their leads improve. Generally, realtors are sitting somewhere at 1 in 10 to 1 in 12 on the amount of leads to closes that they have. And by leveraging the loop, which is our unique process, they can see that conversion move as high as 1 in 6 based on our past history. And so how do we do that? Well, it's a series of stack guarantees. It's how we go about doing business. And so once you have built this out and developed this, it is game changing when you sell. And so if you're trying to add something unique or stand out in your marketplace, this is the thing. And when you come in and you explain to a realtor or some other affiliate insurance agent or divorce attorney, and you show them that by leveraging your systems and your processes, they can start focusing more on the stuff that actually moves the needle for them and stop wasting time doing all of the other stuff that's not making them money. And then also then having a conversation about conversion and how by leveraging your systems, they can convert more leads. You'll start really carving out good market share in your business. This works pretty well in any market. We focus on rural America, but I've got a loan officer in Atlanta, Georgia. I've got a couple in Wichita Falls. I've got a couple in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so we're in some bigger markets too, and it's just as successful in both urban and rural. So all in all, that is our system for the loop. And so if you guys are interested in more of that, I can, break out. I'll share these slides of how to kind of go through and at least build a few guarantees. If you don't sell this way now and you don't have any guarantees, the easiest guarantee to start with is the lead, how you work and handle leads. If a realtor sends you a lead, I guarantee that I will do this by this. I'll reach out, 7 times in 4 days or 10 times in 3 days or whatever that is. And then that's a really, really good first guarantee to make. The next pretty easy guarantee that you can stack on top of that is just weekly updates and guarantee to update the listing agent and the buyer's agent so that the buyer's agent doesn't have to do that work. And over time, you can start stacking more and more of these together until you're at the point where we are, which is creating, dozens of different guarantees that we do as we go out to market. So I think I got us in. That's it. Unless people have questions, that's most of it. What's up, Paul?
Skylar, I just have one quick question. Scaling this, right? You have a lot of, you get to the point where you've got a lot of partners, that type of thing, or a lot of loans, let's say. So are you automating these updates in order to be able to make sure that you're getting them out to the people? Because Shane said he's actually sitting down and calling people, and I can see how that would be, tough to do if it gets busy.
Yeah, it depends. We don't, we automate some on our past database, and we'll use Bonzo for that. And we'll have our loan officers pre-record voicemails. We actually do call, we use the dialer in Bonzo, but then if they don't answer, we'll drop the voicemail from whoever the loan officer is, right? But what we do, we created a position called an experience manager. So our experience manager is kind of like a transaction coordinator a little bit. They call the actual customers, the buyers, right? However, our customer is the realtor, and we want to get more business from them, and we want them to think that our loan officers are running the show. So we have our loan officers do their pipeline update calls to the buy side and the listing agent each week. And then the experience manager will call everybody else. So they reach out to the title company, they reach out to the actual clients and all of that. But we do make actual phone calls for our pipeline. The experience manager then makes our past database calls. We have found that it takes around 4 hours a week for them to work our past database. Our past database is pretty good sized at this point. We've got about 4,000 clients now, closed loans that we're calling through. The way that I manage that is that inside of Bonzo, I have 13 tags: week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. And every time that we upload a closed deal into that database, it gets a tag. And I just keep track how many closed loans are in each week. And so all the experience manager has to do is search up week 5 in Bonzo. It generates the list, 180 of them, and then they just hit dial. And so it doesn't take them very long to do those calls and things, but we don't automate all that much because, I mean, there's value in the communication. So
your loan origination software, then you're not using the automatic updates for like, title was ordered, that type of thing. You're actually making those calls.
Yeah. So processor makes that specific call. The loan processor, it's actually an email for that. Title's been ordered, appraisal's ordered, it's due back on this date. In real time, the processor is updating everyone, and then we send out the weekly update every Monday before noon. We've got a pipeline Excel sheet that we use OneDrive, and so everybody is in it. And it has every single date and update that's updated in real time by the processors. So all a loan officer has to do is pull up that spreadsheet, look where we're at, make a phone call, and that's it. And the realtor phone numbers are in the spreadsheet as well. So it's pretty quick. You just go down the list.
I got it.
At any given time, the max that the average loan officer has in their pipeline might be 20, and it's not that many. I mean, as a group right now, we have 107 active deals in our pipeline, and so it's not this huge thing. So
No, the divide and conquer thing is great with the experience manager and that type of thing, because if I was to sit and make, even if I only had 20 loans and make every one of those calls myself, it'd be tough to follow up as much as I want to. So
that's where, as you grow, you add more guarantees. The trick to this is that you get to decide what you want to guarantee to the market. And so you don't have to guarantee all the things that I guarantee right now. The only reason that we're able to do what we're able to do is because I have a great big team. Every single thing is documented out. Every single person knows what their role is. And so as we grow and I always say that it's like Monopoly. And at first you're just trying to acquire a couple of properties, right? But then all of a sudden now you get to put a house down because you got 3, right? And then all of a sudden now you get hotels. And like as you start scaling out, you unlock more cool toys to play with. And an experience manager isn't something that an LO doing 5 loans a month is going to have. But we unlocked that piece once we got our loan average over 30 a month. Now we're sitting at about 75 a month. And so we have all kinds of fun things that we're able to do because like the excess revenue just keeps growing. So
thank you.
Yeah, well, that's all I have.
All right.
I can email this over to Mitch and he can send those out, the slides.
Great.
Yep, that's awesome. And then Brian wanted to know if you would share your OneDrive template. Do you have that available to share that you were talking about?
I can make a copy of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
for our
appreciate
pipeline.
that. And then
Yeah.
Yep. And then Emmett, I will when I send out the recording for this to everybody's email, I'll include as much of the stuff as Shane and Skylar have shared with me in that email as well. So well, I just want to say thank you to Skylar. Thank you to Shane for joining us today. I hope you guys took good notes. And these two are, both doing very well in the market, regardless if it was a bad market or not. So, definitely take their advice and run with it. I have 2 challenges for everybody on this call and everybody that's going to watch the replay. 2 things. Number 1, start thinking of 3 things that you want to be known for. Like Shane was saying, he's known for being a Washington Huskies fan, backwards hat, loving coffee, whatever it is. Like, what are you doing that people are going to notice you in public and be like, oh, hey, how's it going, Paul? And how they recognize you from social media for what you're known for. Obviously myself I'm a diehard Hawkeye fan. You rarely ever catch me without a hat. So, you know, just little things like that that people are going to recognize you for. And, you know, like Shane said, you know, he's seen all my posts about, you know, the blizzard that we had, the cold weather that we're having. You know, it's things like that that people see and they're like, oh, hey, that relates to Mitch. And that's huge. I mean, now that you guys seen Shane and you hear someone talking about a great cup of coffee, what's the first thing you're going to think about? You're going to be like, oh, Shane. Yeah, Shane loves coffee. I should tell Shane about that. You know, so you see something about, you know, Caitlin Clark, you see something about the Hawkeyes, the first thing you're going to think of is me. And that's, you know, that's the point. You want people to start, you know, thinking about you even when you're not there. The other thing is I would suggest that you come up with 2 or 3 guarantees. Like Skylar said, let's start small, you know, start with 2 or 3 that you're feeling comfortable with, you know, giving out on every loan. I mean, something that you have to push to make sure it gets done. And it gets you guys into that. And Skylar, how many guarantees do you think you have total?
We've got 13 now that we do, but again, I think the easiest one, it's also one of the most impactful, is having a lead guarantee. One of the biggest complaints that all realtors have is that loan officers don't follow up on their leads, and so all you do is pick a number and pick a day and a time period. So we do 7 times in 4 days, and then I just kind of explain to them like there's real-time updates. So if we get a hold of the client and they tell us to buzz off, we'll call you back and let you know. If we get a hold of the client and we get an application, we'll call you back at, you know, within 2 hours of application, we'll give you an update on how it's looking. And then if we get to the end of the 4 days and we've not heard from the client, we'll call you back and ask you how you want us to proceed. Do you want to follow back up with them and then have us go again? You know, we don't want to bug them too much, but it's as easy as that. And then now the realtor just understands, like, if I send this guy a lead, he's going to take care of it. And then you just do it the same way every single time. This is just how we do it. And they come to appreciate that reliability. And all of a sudden, they send you the leads, not because you're the best whatever. It's just because they know what to expect.
Exactly.
They know what they're getting.
You know, as humans, we don't have to be real estate agents to understand that people want guarantees. People want to know what's going on. If they're going to send you their friend or their lead, they want to know that you're going to take care of them. Because if you don't, then that makes them look terrible. You know, it's just like anything else. If you refer a friend to someone else, another friend, you want to make sure that friend's going to take care of them, no matter what that, you know, lead is for, or else it makes you look silly on both ends. You know, you got to make sure they're a good match.
Yeah. One more tip on referrals, because sometimes you guys will get the pushback like, well, we have to send out 3 loan officers, right? We've all heard that. The way around that is it's super easy. You have to let them know that if you send out that many options, then there's a pretty good chance that client is going to get confused because they're going to get 3 different options from 3 different lenders. And people that get confused are much more likely to just leave than they are to actually apply with somebody. And so you're not suggesting that they don't refer to 3 people. What you're suggesting to them or training them is how they refer 3 people. And all the realtor has to do is say, hey, why don't you give Paul a call first? He's a great lender that I work with. If that conversation doesn't go well and you don't feel like you hit it off, let me know and I'll give you the name of another lender. Super easy. That's not steering at all. That's just saying, call this guy first, and if it doesn't go well, then let me know and I'll give you the name of another one. And that's it. And I mean, that's what our realtors do. And the way that we convince them to do that is like, look, do you want your conversion ratios to be higher? Because right now you're closing 1 in 12 leads. If you could move that up to 1 in 8, you would be closing far more deals for the same amount of work. I mean, is that worth trying, right? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's that easy. And most of the time they'll agree and they'll try it that way. So
awesome. All right. Anybody have any other questions before we get off here?
Great information. Thank you all.
All right. Well, I appreciate you guys once again. I will get information out on our February meetings, who's going to be speaking, topics, dates, times, all that. Get that out to everybody. Once this is over, I'll get this recording downloaded. It will be sent out by email. And like I said, I'll try to throw in the slides and everything else that I can included in there so you guys can go back. And then obviously it'll be in the group as well, the videos. So if anybody has any questions or anything, you'll let me know. I am in kind of a critical time to, I want to grow this, grow this whole thing. So we're sitting at about 40 people. Obviously about half of us are showing up live. Half of us are watching the replay, hopefully. So obviously we're working towards growing that. So if you guys know anyone in the industry that, could benefit from this, definitely refer them. Let me know. I appreciate that. Other than that, I just appreciate you guys joining us, and let's look at those 2 challenges, get out there and do that. And I'm going to start creating, some groups here shortly of I think we decided on 5 people, to group together so you guys can maybe meet every other week, opposite, and just, strategize and make sure that everybody's doing something that they learn from, from these trainings.
Appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a good day.